Okay, we've got Pat Keene here, and we've got a real interesting story and a really exciting find. Pat was out, how long ago was it that you found this particular specimen?
About 3 weeks ago.
And you were using your Minelab, and it was a GPX 5000, right?
You betcha.
So what happened? What made you decide to go to this certain area, and what led you to it?
Well, this canyon's been known for a long time to produce some very large gold specimens. And I've been detecting up here for years. About 2 months ago, I got a new Minelab. I got the new GPX 5000. And so I go up there detecting quite often. And one of the locations I was working in is just below a big hopper down the hill a little bit, where they were mining some very large pieces.
So this was a big mining operation, or just like some guys that were dry
Well,
washing?
I think it was a past pretty good sized mining operation, but over the years they've been pushing a lot of the tailings over the hill.
Ah, the tailings.
Yeah, so they had a big huge hopper, and they're classifying the material, dumping it off to the side. Well, you know, lots of times these big grizzlies and the classifiers are set for a certain size. So a lot of the bigger stuff just gets kicked off because they're more interested in the small gold because it's more plentiful than the big gold. And so I was detecting in old tailings, and I started detecting in a kind of a cut where some guys were dry washing, taking down the hill a little bit. And these people left off, and I just happened to be there at the right time, go over the spot, and I started getting a signal on the hillside. Well, I started digging into the hillside a bit, and all of a sudden I start getting a real kind of a high-tone signal on it.
A singer. It was singing. That's the Minelab sing. When it has a certain distinct
sound. It had a real
high-pitched
tone to it.
Yeah.
But you know what? You're never sure, so you're going to dig up the junk as well as the good stuff. So I kept on digging in this hole, and then I see 3 big hot rocks sitting right in the middle of it.
You're probably...
So all of a sudden I was kind of let down in a sense. So I chiseled the 3 rocks out, but I still got a sound deeper in the hillside. So I dug a little bit longer, and all of a sudden the signal disappeared. So I look on the ground, didn't look like anything special. So I put them in my scoop, and I go over the metal detector, and the machine started singing. So all of a sudden I'm tossing the different rocks off to the side, but one of the bigger rocks started to give a real strong signal, a real good tone. And it looked like just a regular rock. And so
was it all covered with dirt?
It was covered with dirt. I couldn't even tell it was gold. And I started scratching off some of the dirt off of it, and I see a little bit of gold. And I kind of put my hand down, I go, oh God, please let it be a gold nugget. And all of a sudden I started scratching a little bit more off, and it was a large specimen. In fact, I got the nugget right here if you want to see it. You want to hold that for a second?
Sure.
This barely fits in the pouch.
Oh, wow, Pat.
And that's a piece I dug out, and it weighed 2.4 pennyweight, but when I cleaned all the caliche clay off of it, it ended up being 2.2 ounce.
Wow, look at the matrix of gold on that piece of...
So it's got quartz, and it's got a little bit of manganese in there because it's kind of a purplish color. And what's interesting, under a magnifying glass, you can see a lot of blue quartz inside of it.
Oh, really?
But, you know, sometimes you find real smooth pieces. This is a kind of what we call a red chispa piece, which has the orange stain from the volcanic material that it was encased in.
What do you think the value is?
I figure about $4,000.
Wow. Man.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. You definitely paid for your detector and then some.
Oh, definitely.
Plus all the good times.
You know, this is about my 3rd or 4th Minelab I've had.
Oh, yeah?
And with these machines, I've actually found pounds of gold over the years.
So you have the GPX 5000 here, and it was about 18 inches down, you said earlier?
It was about 18 inches into the wall.
Okay, so you're going to take us to that spot and maybe let me poke around, and maybe you'll find some more. Maybe there's a that's just the baby, and we'll find the granddaddy of them all. But
You never know.
Nice. That's
But
nice.
what's interesting is a lot of the gold nuggets are kind of like rogue nuggets. You just find them here or there. You normally don't find an accumulation of big stuff.
Okay.
And you know what? Anyone could be digging anywhere and find the stuff. You just got to have the right equipment to do it.
And you found it in a tailing pile, and I've heard many times it's not a wives' tale. Look in the tailing piles, detect the tailing piles, because a lot of the time, especially the larger stuff, goes and falls off the side of the grizzly and ends up in the tailing piles, and the miners, they didn't have the detectors that they had at the time they were mining with this technology, so we can get in there now and find those nice pieces like you got there.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is, you know, anytime someone's dry washing out there and they're using some of my equipment to dig and process a lot of the material, anything that's 1/2 inch or larger gets screened off and falls on the ground. And without a metal detector, and without a decent metal detector, you may not find it. But first thing I do is I go around and I metal detect all the different tailing piles and stuff like that. And I find quite a bit of gold that way.
Well, that goes hand in hand then, the dry washing and the detector. So a lot of guys that are out there dry washing, detect around their area where they've been digging.
Exactly. If you don't have a metal detector to detect your tailing piles after you process the material,
somebody else will
I'm
come
going to
back
come
and do
along
it for
and
you.
find it.
And that's the case.
Exactly.
All right, Pat. Well, I'm looking forward to getting out there, so let's head to it.
All right, let's get to work.